and barbecue. This is real sports talk for the real sports fan. Talk to him, Swain.
Give me 2 laps and a Ric Flair.
Swain Event and SwainEvent.com, fueled by Dead End Barbecue, top 100 barbecue restaurant in America. It is Tuesday, the best day of the week. I'm Jason Swain, live from the Low T Center studio, joined by my good friend, Ben McKee. Go Vols 247. A lot to get to today. Ben, I hope you are well. Man, we can't waste any time today, sir. We got a lot to get to. What's up, man?
Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. Personally, everybody wants to talk Tennessee football, as you alluded to. I am doing well. I hope you are as well.
Yeah, for sure. Basketball team did what they did on Saturday. It was an epic collapse. It was embarrassing. They got to pick themselves off the mat. They got a couple days to figure it out. They play Alabama. No time to feel sorry for yourself. So, all right, that's that for that basketball talk.
Well, going off of your rule, no football talk or men's basketball talk. It's just Lady Vols basketball for an hour and a half today because they won their recent game.
Yeah, they did, but
they've been frustrating to watch, but Sunday was a nice win for them.
Sunday was good, man. They started off slow, but they played their butts off, played hard, made some big time shots, defended. They did really good. They did a good job. I won't call it a hostile environment, but we understand what those two teams stand for when they play in any sport, and the Lady Vols did their thing, so kudos to them. But we understand the audience today, this morning, here in the Swain Event. So, as expected, when you read the tea leaves, when you knew that Tennessee had not made a strength and conditioning coach this whole entire offseason, and there were one more game to play, there was a tie to Josh Heupel on both sidelines, with Miami strength coach, with Indiana strength coach, and I told a buddy of mine yesterday, I was like, we're getting Indiana strength coach. It's happening. And today, it's going down. Tennessee is going to make him the highest paid strength coach in the country. That is Derek Owens. And, man, it's fresh off a national championship game, a team that physically there's no debate. Now they were old now. They are old. But when you talk about the trenches, Indiana held their own, and that's why they're champions. What an unbelievable hire for Josh Heupel. Kudos to the UT administration for making it happen. So they went out, got themselves a strength coach, got themselves a defense coordinator. And that was the checklist this offseason. Like when the season ended, there's some things on the checklist that we talked about. Getting a defense coordinator was one, not the number one, but it was one of the items that needed to be checked off the list. Getting a strength and conditioning coach was one of those because, like we've said on this program, the program was soft. I mean, I said it. And so you address that with the strength coach. I still believe that teams play with the mentality of their head coach. And so Josh Heupel will still have to make some adjustments with his coaching style, with how he defines discipline inside of his program, because at the end of the day, he is the last voice. He checks, signs off on the checks. And so but this is a huge, huge move for Tennessee. If you're a Tennessee fan, you should be excited about the moves that have been made in the offseason concerning defense, concerning special teams. Quarterback is another topic.
What about offense?
Should they be excited about the moves that have been made on offense, Wayne? You got your offensive lineman up front that you wanted, added more beef up front.
I won't say excited. I would say intrigued. Intrigued by what the offense could do with, some young guys at the quarterback position. I would say intrigued. I mean, you could be excited, but I'm not necessarily excited. I'm more intrigued, a little bit nervous about a young guy quarterback. But I'm excited about what we've done in the portal surrounding the quarterback. The quarterback plan was a head scratcher to me. I'm not necessarily thrilled about the plan that we had at the quarterback position, but I do understand why you did what you did at this point of the game with the quarterbacks. But again, like the checklist in the offseason, hey man, I thought we did a really good job of hitting that checklist and getting what Heupel believes is the best in the business, and it's hard to argue that the dude is coming off a national championship. So, good job.
Yeah, I don't know how Josh Heupel could have made a much better hire. I mean, we're not going to pretend like he is the only strength coach that is really good at his job. So there are certainly others out there, but just in terms of what Tennessee needed and the recent resume for Derek Owens at least speaks for it's itself. I'm not going to pretend to have a great knowledge of Derek Owens as a strength coach at this point, but the fact that we have been talking when we have briefly talked about these college football playoffs games, we've talked about how the difference has been the physicality and in the trenches. Now, on a quick side note, quarterback play was the difference in last night's game. Carson Beck and his noodle arm. Carson Beck was just inevitable. I said that last week that I thought Indiana was going to win because of the difference at quarterback, and that came through with Francisco Mendoza having that phenomenal run on fourth down, having his true Heisman moment there late in the fourth quarter to score and put Indiana up, I guess, by 10, and then Carson Beck with a chance to win the national championship for his team just throws an abomination of an interception. I mean, what are we doing there? But aside from quarterback play being the difference last night, I mean, Indiana rolled the Tide because of its physicality, embarrassed Alabama to where it looked like Alabama quit like it did in the Florida State game, and then somehow it embarrassed Oregon even more, which was even more impressive because Oregon is in a better shape as a program than Alabama is. Oregon's a more physical team than Alabama is, and somehow Indiana embarrassed them even more than it did Alabama. So, and then to hold up against Miami as well, a very physical team. Derek Owens doesn't get all the credit. He doesn't get 100% of the credit, but he plays a major role in Indiana's physicality and the way that they looked against teams throughout the course of the season. And I think Curt Cignetti always gets the most of the credit for like the discipline of the team because he's the head coach and he sets the temperament from the top down, as we have talked about how Josh Heupel sets the tone from the top down. But you have to have a good strength coach to feed in to your players what you are wanting them to play like. And so Derek Owens gets a lot of credit there, even if Curt Cignetti is kind of the one leading the way. So that's something Tennessee desperately needs, something that we've mentioned here in the offseason, early on in the offseason. Everybody was when Tennessee lost to Vanderbilt, it was Tim Banks this, Tim Banks this, Tim Banks this. It was all Tim Banks, and there were more problems than Tim Banks, and they have addressed that, it seems, on the defensive end. On the defensive side, we'll see how much success that leads to in year one of that defensive staff. But then you also had to upgrade at strength coach from a physicality standpoint and a discipline standpoint, and nobody exemplified discipline and physicality more than Indiana this season. And you were able to go and get their strength coach basically done before they even won the national championship. So I think that speaks to the heck of a hire that Josh Heupel has made.
It's always about the combination, Ben. It's the head coach and strength coach together. It's them being on the same page. It's strength coach carrying out the vision of the head coach of what he wants his football team to look like. So you want to work on discipline. You want to work on not jumping off sides. You want to work on toughness. These are things that can be molded during the off season, for a football team, for a football program. And so it's why I said, at the beginning, this is a great hire. The move to bring in Jim Knowles was great. There's still things that Josh Heupel will have to adjust. He has to make some changes in his approach to really make these adjustments and changes be championship quality. The same decisions can't be made that he made in the past, the Boo Carter situation, all the other stuff, the in-game coaching, like all that stuff has to change on top of these great hires that he has made. Also, something needs to be adjusted with the offensive philosophy and things like that. But these are major moves. I'm excited to see what this strength staff is going to look like and the impact they're going to make, because I think they're going to make a huge impact.
I agree. What is a fair expectation for his strength staff and the defensive staff in year one? Because I would be surprised if it's just the snap of a finger and everything is exactly what it needs to be. I think there's going to be at least a little bit of a grace period in which you don't think that there's going to be any building that foundation that needs to be laid, or a little bit of time that needs to be allowed to.
Why?
But I just don't think that.
Why?
I just don't think that the situation was one that you can automatically take over and have the success that is needed.
You got 8 months. You got 9 months.
Okay, but I still don't think the personnel that is at a championship level. Do you?
I don't know. I don't think anyone knows.
Well, of course we don't know, but
if you don't know, how you gonna say that it's not at a certain level if we don't know?
Because we're doing a live show and we give opinions, and my opinion is that the personnel is not championship caliber. Do you feel good about the beef that they have acquired on the defensive side of the football? I like the pieces that they have added, but is it to the championship level standard that we have been discussing? I don't know for sure, as you just pointed out, and they do have a whole offseason to get better. But as we sit here on January 20th, I don't know that it's good enough to go win you an SEC championship or get you in the playoffs. So that is why I wonder all I'm asking is what are our fair expectations for this staff, strength staff and defensive staff in year one, because I do think people are going to expect automatic quick results.
They should, because that's what I expect. I expect you went to the portal, you constructed a plan, at least you should have, but I think they did when it comes to the defense side of football. You put a plan together. You've known for months during the season. Billy Hinem, he wasn't prepping for Alabama. He wasn't prepping for Georgia. He wasn't prepping for Vanderbilt. His job was this period right here. So he's known for months what this football program, what this roster needed. And so the plan should have been put in place well before the end of the season. So you knew what you needed to address. You went out, you got safety, you got some corners, you got a room full of linebackers who you're paying a lot of money to, which, hey, the depth is great for William Inge, but you're paying a lot of dudes at the linebacker position. So you address the linebacker. You got Arion Carter coming back. We'll talk about him soon. You traded Jordan Ross and what's my other band?
Caleb Herring for Chaz Coleman and what's the player from Tulane? Is it Jordan Newman?
We'll go with that.
There's too many players, new players.
A lot of new players. You probably got a better
Jordan Norman.
You probably got a better combination of those two guys, which, again, we're not going to know, Ben, until they start playing. So
For sure, and I agree that it looks like you upgraded there.
So, do I think Tennessee needs to go out and get another defensive tackle? Yes, I do. I think in the portal still, there's people still in there, so you can still
rocking and rolling. Who knows if any Miami or Indiana players enter?
Yeah, you can still go, address those positions. This is not 2015 where you're bringing in a bunch of young dudes and it takes time. You got the system. You're bringing in a strength coach that's going to implement these new trainings day one, and they're going to experience the gains, and they're going to experience the shift in mindset. You got 8 months, 9 months to shift the mindset, to change the toughness physically and mentally. So, yeah, I'm expecting results. I'm expecting the results day one. Absolutely, Ben.
I was just asking the question. I wasn't saying that fans should or should not. I just know what they are going to expect, and more so my question was, is it fair to expect that right away?
I think it's fair. It's not like you went out and you got the youngest football team in the SEC, all that stuff. Like, you can go address issues like you're shopping at Costco or Sam's, like in the portal, and you've had a plan to put this grocery list together, and boom, like you addressed it. So now you got the ingredients to go cook, and so that's why I expect results. You got a lot of dudes returning on offense. You got your receiver group returning. You got your start running back returning. You got a couple dudes at tight end position returning. You got a lot of dudes on the offensive line that's returning. Like, you got continuity with your offensive staff. No one from the staff has left. So I expect some tweaks from a philosophy standpoint. I expect some tweaks from an in-game management coaching standpoint. I expect results. I mean, yeah, I expect them. Yeah, 100%, man. 865-255-03. The Garza Law Hotline. Why trust an out-of-town law firm when you can trust someone right here that's been doing it the right way for a long time? Marcos Garza and the Garza Law Firm, they're my lawyers. They've done great things for me. They'll do great things for you. Right here, locally, they're tied in with the Knoxville community, tied in with local charities. You see them everywhere. So trust one of your own, not an out-of-town law firm. Trust one of your own. That's Marcos Garza and the Garza Law Firm, garzalaw.com. Throw in questions, comments on the Beatty Chevrolet text box that is available on your Swain Event app for Apple devices. Nelson says, we were ranked 94th defensively. We better see some results. Yeah, man, for sure. Yeah,
I said championship caliber results. That's not upgrading from 94 to 50 or 94 to 30. That's, do we see them as a top 10 defense next season?
Well, I don't know if you have to be in a top 10 defense to be a championship caliber.
I think you will, with what might be on offense this season. It like, if we're talking, you got to make the playoffs. I like the offense, but I don't know that the offense is good enough to carry you to the playoffs. I think the defense, as of today, what we know, would need to carry you. So I think I would argue that you probably do have to be top 10 to maybe make up for a little bit on offense.
That Miami offense,
like we saw with that Nico year.
That Miami offense wasn't necessarily all that great this season. They just played complimentary football very, very well, and was good enough when it needed to be good. So, I mean that's kind of how I look at it. Like, I don't like, people are chasing this high of 22. We don't need that. We don't need that offense. You don't need that offense. Look at the last few national champions. You don't need that offense. You need complementary football. You need special teams. playing off defense playing off offense. That's what you need. You can't just play one side of the football really great. 22 and 21 was great for selling tickets. That's what it was good for. It was great for getting you excited about Tennessee football. That's what it was good for. It was not built to win a championship. You don't have to have that type of offense in 22 to win a championship or compete for a championship. You don't. You don't. You just got to play off each other very, very well. And Miami, they managed the heck out of Carson Beck. They managed him all season long. And I could tell. You could tell they managed him. Some of the short throws that he was making, not just last night, but all playoffs. They were managing him. They paid him $4 million, and they were managing him like he was a redshirt freshman. So if you can manage one of these young dudes and they can take care of the football and the running game is good and your receivers are making plays after the catch and the defense is playing well and special teams, you're not beating yourself and you're playing well, hey, man, and you're disciplined and you're tough and you're physical, why can't you compete? Why can't you compete, be one of the 12 teams in the college football playoff? Why can't you win a game in the college football playoff? I don't see why you can't. I think it's there for the taking. 865-255-03. You want to go to the phone, Ben? Let's go to the phones.
It's your world. I'm just living in it.
Oh, man, thank you. Good morning.
What's going on, Swain Event?
What's up, Buck Nasty? We've been waiting on you to call back, man.
Man, I've been busier than a cat covering up crap on concrete, son.
That sounds busy.
You want to argue?
No. I don't like
Nah, I don't either.
I don't like
But,
arguing.
I mean, I don't either. Not necessarily. I was busy. Been wanting to talk to you about the Will Muschamp happenings in the SEC.
Okay.
I thought you guys said he didn't want to coach. He was perfectly content where he was at.
He was until he wasn't. He was.
I understand.
Yeah, he was. He was not a defense coordinator. He was in his role there at Georgia, and he was doing that for a couple of years. And then the school that he has ties to, he used to be defense coordinator under Mac Brown when he was named the head coach in waiting before he ultimately left and took the Florida job, called him, and his kids are older, and he took the job.
I wish we could have got him.
You don't like Jim
I'm
Knowles?
still worried about our defense. I am glad that we added a bunch of guys from Penn State to maybe help speed that process up. I'm worried about our lack of depth at defensive end. Now the boy from Tulane and the kid from Penn State are the only two experienced defensive ends we got on the team. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, probably, yeah.
Do you think we add another one of those, Swain?
I think we will continue to add players on the defense side of the football. I think we need to get a interior lineman because Xavier Gillum is the only interior guy, 6'2", 300. Again, you did go and address the edges, with Chaz Coleman, who was the number one edge player inside of the portal, 5-star rating. Portal guy, and then you address the other edge with Jordan Norman. So when you look at the entire room there with the edge, yeah, I mean you probably can go and add another piece there to the defensive line, but you got some studs that you feel like could be really good players for you, and what you were paying the guys who left for the production that you were getting, it didn't match. So hopefully what you're paying these guys, you're going to get more production.
I understand that point 100%, and I agree with the moves that they made. I understand the moves they made in the portal and things like that. But with this schedule that we got, playing all these teams week in, week out, I'm worried about attrition, especially on the defensive front. And then if we're going to play complementary football like everybody wants us to, you're going to run into trouble. And then you got GMAC, who's built like a toothpick, going to try to hold up as well with very little experience at all in playing the college game.
That's fair.
You see where I'm going with that?
Oh, I'm with you on that one. I mean, I'm with you on that one. But that's why you go make Derek Owens the highest paid strength coach in the country, and you make sure that whoever's going to come in and handle nutrition, because Tennessee has to replace the person that was doing that too. That the plan in place will help McIntyre gain those 20, 25 pounds and be able to withstand those hits, because George looks like he's one hit away from being hurt for the season with a broken collarbone or something. Somebody just lands on him wrong. So he'll have to gain the weight. He'll have to get stronger. But that's why you're paying Derek Owens $1.2 million, making him a high strength coach to get that done.
Oh, they didn't have to pay him to make him gain weight. I could have given him something a little better than the low T center offers and got some weight on that boy. It'd make him eat like a mule, I guarantee it. Now, you did say that you didn't agree with the quarterback position, the way it was handled in the portal. I'd like to hear what you thought Tennessee ought to have done different as far as like the way they handled the Levitt situation. I thought they threw him a pretty big number, and he chose LSU instead. I may have been misinformed on that, but I'd like to hear how you think they ought to handled it different, guys. I'll hang up and get out of your hair.
Thank you. No, what I said was I didn't like the plan. The plan and the plan just didn't start 3 weeks ago. The plan started a year or two ago, and I'll explain. So, 2023, Nico Iamaleava was a freshman, true freshman, right? It was clear that he was the future of this football program. You went out, you got him. You did whatever you had to do to get him. You believed in him so much that you were willing to go after the NCAA for him. First game against Virginia, you beat Virginia down, he plays. He got a little banged up. It affected him being available the next time you beat up a team and had the opportunity to play a backup quarterback. You didn't have to play him because we were playing with our food a little bit against Austin Peay. That season in 23, during the course of the regular season, we saw Nico play. The bowl game comes around. Joe Milton is not playing in it. He's getting ready for the NFL. It's a great opportunity for Nico to get a jump start on the next season. He plays, does his thing, great. When George committed and came to Tennessee, you feel like he had an opportunity to be the next one. The guy that can be the face of your program and be your quarterback. Fall camp, it was pretty clear who was the best thrower of the football. But Joey had the experience. Joey had a great second scrimmage, the best second scrimmage out of any other quarterback, was the starter. Merklinger had the worst, and it wasn't close. He became your number 2 quarterback. Why? Because of some experience, which I understood at the beginning of the season. If Joey would have gotten hurt, game 1, game 2, game 3, it's clear that Merklinger probably would have went in as a backup quarterback because George is new. But I said on this program, at some point during the season, George is going to take over that number 2 spot because the talent is going to take over. Well, he never was a number 2 because when you beat UAB, when you had opportunity to play George, you played Jake Merklinger, who when he came in could barely complete a 10-yard pass. And so...
And the reasoning was very, very dumb.
Correct. So all this time you had opportunity to play George, and you didn't play George during the regular season. Just missed opportunity. Here comes the bowl game. And I've said Joey deserves to start the bowl game and play in the bowl game. And I understood why folks said, well, you might as well just go with George because, hey, man, it's a meaningless bowl game. And, I mean, come on, it's about getting ready for the next year. I get that. I'm not going to disagree with you. But at the same time, how do you penalize Joey Aguilar for doing everything that you asked him to do, play the way he played? He played great for you. He was a top 3 passer in this league. Let him go out with a bang. Let him go out and win. He was unsuccessful doing that, okay? Now you're sitting here and you're saying, all right, well, man, let's go to this portal. Let's go to this portal and see if we can do a quarterback. Sorsby obviously was a guy that you should have been interested in. You can't pay what Texas Tech was going to pay him. Cool, whatever. You bring in Sam Leavitt, which even bringing him in, you have to be prepared to pay $5 million or more. Like, you have to be prepared. If you knowing that Sorsby got $5 million, you have to be prepared to pay $5 million or more to bring him in. If not, you're just wasting your time. I don't think Tennessee had to pay him $5 million at the beginning. But when Miami came into the picture, we knew what Miami was willing to pay because of the report of Todd Simpson. Willing to pay him $6.5. So now the price, I thought, raised on Sam Leavitt. Tennessee tries to come back. LSU tries to come back. LSU gets him. They pay a big number. So you had a plan of Leavitt, and let's not get started on the plan of a quarterback that wasn't even here or wasn't even in the portal. So you had Ty Simpson as a plan, which would have been awesome, but he did it to you once before. He left you at the altar the first time when he picked Alabama over us and didn't even tell us in enough time. He could have given us a heads up and let us know, hey, man, I'm going to go to Alabama because, hey, it's Nick Saban. I get it, man. It's Nick Saban. But left Tennessee hanging, picked Alabama. Cool. He did it to you again. For some reason, he was a part of the plan. There was a report that Ty Simpson said it himself, that he had offers from schools if he chose to come back for his last year of college. Miami, Tennessee. So you had a plan, Ty Simpson. You brought in Sam Leavitt. You had an opportunity to play George during the regular season, and you didn't. And so for me, the whole plan could have been better. Now, it can work out if George plays well. I mean, he is a high 4-star talent. There was a time when he was a 5-star, but he was not signed as a 5-star. That 5th star was taken away from him. So he was a high 4-star player coming in. He is a high 4-star player coming in. He has the tools. And so you're paying him, you're paying Faison Brandon a lot of money to come here. If you would have paid Sam Leavitt the money that he was probably wanting, we're talking about a $8 million room at the very, very minimum. That's something you probably don't want to do when you have other holes to fill. So I get rolling with George and Faison and building around them and then bringing in a third quarterback because you have to have a third quarterback. You just have to. Bringing in a third quarterback and, Staub from Colorado.
They got a Power 4, Power 5 Gaston Moore.
Pretty much. And so, I get it.
They got a better version of Gas Pipe.
You're not paying them a lot of money when you look at what a normal quarterback in a, quarterback room that's either 1 or 2 will make. And so, I get the decision that we made where we are currently, but the entire plan dating back to the beginning of last year with George McIntyre, I don't agree with that plan. So that's what I mean there. But nasty. It ain't about just the portal quarterbacks, because I get why we did what we did with the portal quarterbacks, but you had an opportunity to get George more prepared than you did, and you missed those opportunities because your team wasn't ready to play. And you for some reason thought that Merklinger deserved to be the number 2 quarterback, which he never deserved to be the number 2 quarterback after week 3 or 4. All right, I'm done.
Let me throw this thought at you. Would rolling with George McIntyre, and we say George because we expect George to beat out Faison because George has been here for a year. I expect George to beat out Faison.
He has a lead. I know Faison is loved in that building. There's a lot of belief in Faison.
Yes.
So, yes, George has a lead, and he should win the job, but Merklinger had the lead over Aguilar and didn't win the job. So
yes, but Merklinger is not as good as George.
I understand, but Faison is as good as George.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, so
I mean, somebody told me, I'm sure you heard the same thing, that when Faison arrived, I guess it was last weekend, this person was surprised by how big Faison was. Not that he's Cam Newton or Tim Tebow or anything like that, but Faison was bigger in person than they were anticipating from a height and a weight standpoint. He just looked good. That's all.
Yeah.
He didn't look like your typical freshman showing up on campus. So I'm not saying that Faison can't beat out George. I'm just saying when I say George McIntyre is going to be the starting quarterback, that's my thought and expectation that George does beat out Faison, and I believe that because George has been here a year longer. That doesn't mean that I don't think Faison has a chance or I don't think it's possible. I certainly think that it will be a true competition. But regardless, George McIntyre, Faison Brandon, it's worrisome. We like those guys as prospects, but it's a worrisome plan, at least in January, given their inexperience. Would it be less worrisome if Tennessee didn't have the season that it just had? Because to me, it feels worrisome because like Heupel has to have success this season. Not saying that he's already on the hot seat and going to get fired if he doesn't. I'm not trying to go to that extreme, but we know that this is a very, very important season for Josh Heupel. Would the plan not be as worrisome if the year wasn't as pivotal for Josh Heupel? Because it was always the plan to roll with George McIntyre this year. So, like, why does it feel more worrisome now than it did when we've talked about it in the past? Because this was going to be Nico's money year, goes out, gets drafted, and then you hand the keys to George McIntyre, or Faison Brandon comes in and he's the absolute truth as a true freshman, and you give him the keys. Like, this has always been the plan, but now it seems more worrisome, and I think it's because it is going into such a pivotal year for Josh Heupel, and he has to win, and we now question, okay, can you win with inexperience at quarterback?
Yeah, the plan to play a young guy was a plan in 23 when you rode with Nico. And then you felt like that Nico would be a 3-year guy, that he would leave after, this season, right? Because he redshirted in 23. 24 was his redshirt freshman year, and then this year was supposed to be a year that he was going to leave. He's going to be a 3-year guy, which is why the lack of reps that he did get as a true freshman didn't matter that much when people were complaining about it then, because he was going to be a 3-year guy based on his talent. But it didn't work out that way. But let's say it would have, and let's say he would have been gone. Well, McIntyre would have been a redshirt freshman as he is now. Just because that was a plan all along doesn't mean it's a good plan. When you look at the landscape of college football today, there's only one college football team in the playoff with a young quarterback, and that is Julian Sayin at Ohio State. So it could have worked. Like, you can have a inexperienced quarterback that's talented but the supporting cast is built very strong around him. And you can go make a run. It's just that the percentages are against you when you look at the rest of the teams who are in the playoffs. The rest of the teams that are in the playoffs had an experienced quarterback. But if you have a quarterback like Carson Beck that's going to be managed like he was, then you might as well play a young freshman quarterback. Because a young freshman quarterback can do what Carson Beck, did for the most part. Now, you got to give him credit for his drive against Ole Miss, how he handled himself. He made some big boy throws. That experience really, really paid off. But the hope is that you can – and listen, if I'm Heupel and Halsey, I'm feeling pretty confident about my abilities to prepare a quarterback. Look what I did with Joey Aguilar. Look what I did with Joe Milton. Look what I did with Hendon Hooker. Now, here's the downside. Although those are very positive things and those are great selling points, Miami and LSU is going to kill you when it comes to transfer quarterbacks because they are selling Jackson Dart. They're selling Trinidad Chambliss. They're selling Cam Ward. And now Miami's quarterback. That's 4 dudes that will be playing at the NFL level.
Well, they'll be on an NFL roster. We'll see how long.
It's still 4.
I'm just messing around.
It's still 4. And so when it comes to recruiting a quarterback out the portal, you ain't going to beat Lane Kiffin. You're probably going to beat Miami. And so, yeah, like your best bet is to go with the young guy, have him. But here's the problem. This time next year, it's going to be another quarterback controversy, and somebody's probably going to leave. The problem is they're too close together. George and Faison are too close together. You would love to have a year in between those guys, but they're just too close together. But, hey, you get the offensive line right, get the running back room right, receiver room is right, tight end, there's questions about tight end room. You got to get some more D tackles. Linebacker, you got a bunch of them to figure out 2 of them that you can roll with.
There's no reason that the linebackers should struggle this season. But between Amari Campbell, Arion Carter, Jeremiah Thielander, Jaden Harmon, Jaden Perlotti. Did I miss anybody?
Yeah.
They got so many. I think I probably did miss somebody.
Yeah, that's
6, right? That I just named.
Yeah, but you talk about the young guys too. Rouse and White and Burns, but yeah, there's 8 in that room, and here's the thing I like about the linebacker setup
is the speed and athleticism.
No. Well, I like that, but that's not what I was thinking. I was thinking from a coaching standpoint. You're bringing back the linebacker coach that coached the linebackers on a bad defense and the linebackers wasn't good. So bringing back ends on the surface doesn't sound like it's a great idea. But Jim Knowles is a linebacker guy. He coaches linebackers. So Jim Knowles, just like Nick Saban, who used to hover over the DBs, he's a DB guy. Jim Knowles is a linebacker guy. So Jim Knowles can help Inge with his coaching the position, with his ability to communicate and teach. Inge is going to be a better coach because of Jim Knowles. So I feel good about the linebacker situation because Jim Knowles is a linebacker guy. If this was Tim Banks, I would be scratching my head because Tim Banks is a secondary guy. Does that make sense?
Yes. It's also what doesn't make sense to me is why the linebackers weren't good, because when William Inge got the job, remember he was at, I don't even know if he got to Alabama to have a cup of coffee. Maybe it was just that he had agreed to be the linebackers coach at Alabama. But coming from Washington, when he got the job at Tennessee, when Josh Heupel hired William Inge, the thought was this guy does a really good job of developing linebackers on the field. He was applauded for his ability to develop linebackers. His linebackers played well in his previous years coaching, building up to when he got the Tennessee job. And the question with him was, is he going to be able to recruit at the level Tennessee needs him to? And it's almost been like flip-flop of what people thought of him when he signed up for the job. He's recruited at a very high level, but the linebackers have not been what they need to be. So that's what's confusing to me about William Inge. What was it, a product of his surroundings under Tim Banks? I mean, he is back, so maybe that indicates that Josh Heupel or Jim Knowles thinks that it was a byproduct of his surroundings. But that just doesn't make sense to me, that he was lauded for his work with linebackers and their development and how they produce on the field, and that hasn't exactly been the case since he got here. So maybe in addition to what you're saying, with a restart, a breath of fresh air, new guidance, new surroundings on that staff, maybe we see the guy that Tennessee thought it was getting when it hired him.
I see it as Inge, although a little bit quirky at times, the players like him. He can connect to them to the point where like they like him and they listen to him. I think Inge could be better with making sure guys understand what to do and not be confused, because they still were not where they needed to be in the running game this season. And so if I'm Jim Knowles, I'm like, hey, man, Inge got a lot of stuff that's right. Like, there's a lot of stuff about Inge that's right. And I can help Inge be a better linebackers coach, because I'm a linebackers coach at heart, and I can help Inge. And I'm going to work with the linebackers. And he's good at recruiting, and he's super positive, and I like what he adds to the staff. I think that's how Jim Knowles is thinking, and I think it's going to work out, because you're going to have two different personalities coaching those linebackers in Inge and Jim Knowles, and they'll get extra coaching, extra instruction, and it'll be a little bit easier for them. So that's how I see it. I'm going to go back to the phones. Good morning.
Good morning, Swain. Good morning, McKee.
What's up, man?
What's up, C-Mac?
What's going on?
You sound sad. What happened, man? You put some money on Miami last night?
Great question. I'm going to answer that question with a question. When you think of Trick Daddy, what is the first song that comes to your mind?
What's the name of that song? It's been so long since I listened to Trick Daddy. Let me see. Oh, yeah. The GOAT. What's the title of that song? I know the hook. I know the hook, C-Mac. But the title, what's the title? Oh, I can't say the title. Nan.
Exactly.
Nan.
Yeah, Nan.
Yeah,
Nan.
Yeah.
Nan.
Yeah.
You know that?
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I sound this way because I learned last night that there's definitely two Americas, because a lot of other folks would say, take it to the house, and I don't understand that at all. Base defense with a lack of interior depth, could that be a change?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think if you're Tennessee, you're looking at the portal and see if you can add some guys in the interior. I think you have to. I mean, you look at what Miami was able to do, Indiana, just to be in that position. They had strong trenches starting close to the football. Like, you got to be good at the center position. You got to be good at the D tackle position. Like, it starts there. Like, those positions who are close to the football, they have to be good. And I think if you're Tennessee, and you look at some of the young players you got coming back, there on that interior, they're going to have another year of development. So David Hobbs is going to be stronger. You feel good about Ethan Utley, who did a pretty good job as a freshman. Isaiah Campbell, like these are guys that with a real strength conditioning coach, a strong program in place, physically these guys can be where you need them to be. And so, but I don't think it would be crazy to add one more nose tackle if you can get one that's worth it.
Fair. About some of the additions that we've gotten so far, or more specifically, the one in the quarterback room. I'm just going to go ahead and jump out in front of this. It was early in the fall. I was listening to the radio out here, and Coach Sanford was talking about Staub because Dion had sort of pseudo announced that he was going to start. And Coach talked about the conversation he had with Staub before the season about potentially transferring out because, they brought in Caden and they got Juju, all right, in that cycle. So I'm going to pause right there. We're getting a kid who came from that room. So I'm going to ask you both a question. Caden Salter, Juju Lewis, in comparison to G-Mac and an incoming Brandon, is that even, or is the scale a little bit tipped when you compare those two pairs of quarterbacks?
I can't do that.
I'd rather have George and Faison.
Fair. Okay. Ben went for it. I'm glad McKee went for it. Great. You would rather have those two based on their potential, correct?
Yes, and I thought Caden Salter would be better this past year. I just was not impressed.
Same. And I think that's a product of his environment.
It's easy to compare two guys that had a full season to
Hold
two
on
guys
now.
that haven't. That's why.
You're right. But here's where I'm getting at that. Here I'm trying to get to. With Staub, you're getting a kid who's going to be inserted. Who, at the very worst, he can be an extension of Heupel in terms of manicuring these two young men. Definitely coming out of a room where Salter needed to prove something so he can get drafted, and then you have a young kid that they promised the world to. All right. At worst, Staub can come in and compete. Iron sharpens iron, and that's what we need right now, right? Especially if we're talking about just a gap year. Let's call this quarterback room a gap year, right? So I look at this as a positive. It wasn't a big splashy name, and thankfully it wasn't because, Swain, to your earlier point, we didn't reallocate those resources to other areas that we need.
Yeah.
3 phases of the football game, right? Mm-hmm. We saw Cigaretti coach very well in 3 phases last night.
Who?
Let's make sure that we allocate those resources to all 3 phases, not just to the quarterback room.
I'm with you, man. You would have been paying a lot of money to that room if you would have gotten, Sam Levitt, and you've been paying a lot to guys who are not going to play. So, I mean, I understand the move we made. It's just the entire plan over a 12-month period is what I didn't understand. I thought we could have executed better. But I like
Jason.
I like where we are.
Jason, I'm about to say something very serious. Man, you have been irking me with the verbiage on the plan. And I know you are making a sincere statement. And here's what I hear every time you talk about Heupel's plan or the football program's plan. Someone once told me, you plan your work and you work your plan. I'll say it one more time. You plan your work and you work your plan. Swain, they can plan out all they want to, but they ain't putting the same work into it feels like. So how many times are we going to keep going back to the drawing board, revising a brand new plan just to not put in that same work to work the plan, right? So that's it for me. The fall off coming, 2-6. McKee, love you. Swain, love you. Y'all have a great week, man.
I appreciate you, man. Drop the mic on us.
That was a bar. That was a bar. Now, I think Tennessee's working. I just don't think that they've had the proper plan to work.
Yeah.
They've been planning they've been working. It just ain't been the proper plan.
Yeah. So there's
or got off to a little slow start to work the plan on the defensive side.
Yeah. I like what we've done defensively, man. I like what we've added. I mean, I think there's some guys, some young guys that will be okay. Weathersby, Marion Dye, Rodney, I trust.
And Rodney, I trust.
Yeah, we're gonna be okay there. So, again, the only thing I would say is I would not be opposed to adding another D tackle if you could. If you can't, whatever, man. You've done a lot on defense.
The plan.
They have a choice.
The plan was to go out and get double-digit players from the portal, mainly on defense, and that's what you've done. You've done that. You've executed the plan when it comes to the portal. You had Jack Van Doorslayer that left, but you were able to go and replace him with another run blocking tight end body. Now, again, you don't know if these guys are good enough until we get to the season, but at least you address that issue without ignoring it and feeling like it just worked itself out. Now, you addressed it, so I'm pleased there. Then you got to coach them up. You got to develop them. You got to have a culture of discipline. Like, we can be cool, we can be nice, we can be a player's coach, we can do all that stuff, we can have fun, but when it's time to be on sides, it's time to be on sides. Not jumping off sides on 4th down and 1 or 3rd and 1. Not having 9 penalties for 82 yards in a game. It's time. It's time to step up on the road and not falter and crumble and leadership coming through. It's just time to take that step forward. And bringing in Jim Knowles, championship defense coordinator. Bringing in Derek Owens, championship strength coach. The last 2 championships, you brought someone from them staff. I mean, whew. I think that can rub off on you a little bit. So, Turkey Man on the text box wants to know about strength coach. You got to check out the podcast a little bit, Turkey Man. Talked about him at the beginning of the show. Arion Carter, back. What does that mean? How did we get here? Big news for Tennessee. Arion Carter is the captain, the leader of this football team. So that was a big get for Tennessee. Exciting for Tennessee's defense and the players on this football team. I know Campbell's pretty excited about it. He's going to be lined up next to him whenever Arion is healthy and ready to roll. 865-255-03. Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue, top 100 barbecue restaurant in America. Be back.
What's up, Swain Event crew? Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. Fall sports can be a roller coaster ride for us fans. The excitement, drama, and passion will make us crazy sometimes. I can't manage the games, but I can help you manage your real estate needs while you're cheering on the Vols. Reach out at 865-694-5904 or contact me at nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com, and go Vols.
Guys, you can feel your energy slipping away, losing what makes you, you. It could be low testosterone. Take action now. Low T Center can help reclaim your energy with a quick and simple free T-test. Visit Low T Center and receive pharmaceutical-grade testosterone never compounded like other clinics. Experienced providers increase your testosterone to the level that is just right for you. Treatment is covered by most major insurance with affordable self-pay options available. The best you is waiting. Book your free T-test at trtmvp.com. When you are craving some quality barbecue, there's only one place to go. Dead End Barbecue. Dead End Barbecue has been featured on ESPN's Taste of the Town, the first barbecue restaurant on the SEC Network, CBS Sports, Headline News Tailgate Show, Amazon Prime's The Restaurant Comeback, Food Paradise, and named one of the top 100 barbecue restaurants in America. The search is over. Dead End Barbecue is located on 3621 Sutherland Avenue right here in Knoxville. You can even have it delivered right to your door through Chow Now. Visit their website at deadendbbq.com. Dead End Barbecue. The search is over.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Just because you can't call in doesn't mean that you have to sit on the sideline. Impact the show with a text box. It's part of the free Swain Event app.
Swain Event, SwainEvent.com, fueled by Dead End Barbecue. Checking out the Beatty Chevrolet text box. Louisiana Vol says Lane Kiffin had a plan, has executed that plan. Seems they are about to land Jordan Seaton, which I don't think was that great, but he's the number one tackle in the portal. We better get with it starting today. Well, we know that LSU has been overly aggressive, right? A lot of money. But Indiana just won a championship showing you that you don't have to do that. Now, Miami showed you that you can do that and get there. But Lane Kiffin's plan is not the only plan that works. Lane spent a lot of money. That's cool. But Lane spent a lot of money the year they didn't get to the playoffs when they had Walter Nolan. Had a better team the year after that. So, do I think Tennessee spent a lot of money in the portal? Yeah, I do. I do. And listen, I thought Lane did the best job in the portal in the country, hands down. But I'm not sitting here saying that Lane's way is the only way, because Indiana proved that it's not. Strength coach looks like he has some crazy in him, and a dude that will run you until you die if you look at him wrong. He looks like a strength coach. That's what we needed. That's what we needed for sure. Nelson from Jackson, could the linebacker play be more of a personnel issue? Number 22 wasn't the fastest. Carter was playing about 50%. Spillman, Perlotti are both young. No, it wasn't just a personnel issue. It was all of it. Guys wasn't going where they're supposed to go. So even if you're telling them and they're not doing it, your message is not getting across. That's not just a personnel issue. So you can't just blame the players. It's everybody. Everybody's included. So everyone has to be better. Now, Arion was playing on double turf toe. He was giving his all. He probably shouldn't have gone, but did anyways because he wanted to help his team win. Certainly didn't want to lose to Vanderbilt, but he just wasn't the same player, which is why I was surprised that he declared for the NFL draft. I was like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that one. But he's back, and I know he asked for a big number. I know he did, because I would have taxed Tennessee. I would have asked for a huge number. And I hope he got it paid. I think he did.
Arion?
Yeah, Arion.
Well, I think there was a nice negotiation that was worked out.
Yeah, he got paid a lot of money. He asked for a lot of money. He got paid a lot of money.
Did they meet his asking price?
Of course not. But you're supposed to ask for a lot of
money.
money.
That is what I'm talking about.
But he wasn't gonna make that money that he's asking for. But you still asked for it. This dude was the captain of the football team this past season. He's the heartbeat. He played hurt for you. He's your linebacker. And because he played hurt, it cost him probably a round with his draft grade because he didn't put out good film because he's playing hurt. And he's coming back. He's like, no, I'm going to ask for a big number. And that's what he should have done. But that doesn't mean Tennessee has to pay the big number that he asked for. But the number they settled on is still a big number. Let's just get it clear. It's a big number.
Yes. I was not disagreeing with you. I was just adding that there had to be a compromise because the number that he initially asked for was quite a bit. And Tennessee was not going to pay for that, given the production and what you already have in the room. Because I mentioned all those linebackers earlier. I didn't even mention my favorite one, Edwin Spillman.
Well, I mean, hey.
You don't need Arion. I feel like Arion is a luxury given what you have returning without him.
So while they pay
Tennessee would, I think Tennessee could have been perfectly fine at linebacker with Amari Campbell, Edwin Spillman, and Perlotti, and hopefully Harmon taking a step forward. And you throw T-Lander in there as well, who's played a lot of football.
T-Lander. Oh. Why they pay him then? If he was prepared to leave and go into the portal, why they feel like they need to pay him the money that they pay?
Do you think Tennessee needed Arion Carter after it added Amari Campbell?
You play two linebackers at a time. Why not have two?
I understand
really
that. I view Edwin. I think Edwin Spillman as a junior is going to be just as good as Arion Carter.
Based on him playing this season with 0 toes.
Who, Arion?
Yeah. So you're judging Arion based on this season when he didn't have any toes.
No, I'm judging Arion based off of his 3-year college career and what he also did as a freshman and sophomore.
Okay. They paid him for a
Again,
reason.
I don't know why this has gotten turned into me hating on Arion. All I said was I think like it's great that Arion is coming back. I think it's like a nice little cherry on top. That's not me diminishing that Arion shouldn't start or Arion is not a capable starter. I just think it is a nice, pleasant surprise because that room was already filled out nicely before he was able to come back.
No one's putting words in your mouth. You are saying that Tennessee linebacker room would have been good without Arion. They paid him for a reason. They felt like he was valuable enough, and they wanted him to come back. So they pay him a big number because it's more than just his production or lack of because of his toes. He is literally the heartbeat of this football team. He is the captain of this football team. You're going to have a redshirt freshman quarterback or a true freshman quarterback. You got to have a dude like Arion on your roster. You have to. Now, if Arion would have left, which he was prepared to do that, do I think the linebacker room still could have been good? Could have been, but why not have Amari Campbell and Arion? Why not have both of them? That's how I look at it. Why not have both of them? You save money when you didn't go out and get Sam Levitt. Take care of the guy that laid it on the line for you, that played hurt, that's from this state, that is a captain on your football team, that's a leader on this football team. That's all I'm saying. Louisiana Vol says T-Lander needs to gain some weight and get at a DN spot. He won't factor in the linebacker room. He's not supposed to. He's not supposed to at this point, but we'll see. We shall see. Brian Hunsucker says LSU had to be overly aggressive because they lost the majority of their previous roster to the portal. Correct. I think they brought in like right at almost 40 people. They lost a lot of dudes. They spent a lot of money. A lot of money. Because they could address the numbers without spending the amount that they spent. But they went big, and we'll see if it works out. Neil Mafia says Tim Tebow, blank Tim Tebow. Ben is just trying to trigger me this morning. Did you mention Tim Tebow?
I did when I said Faison Brandon showed up. One person was impressed when Faison showed up about his size. And I said, not that he looks like Cam Newton or Tim Tebow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I stood next to Faison, the Friday before the Georgia game, and he did not look like a normal fresh quarterback. He looked like physically he was more developed than George McIntyre. Physically, he was. So take that for what it's worth. He was. He looked stronger and bigger than George McIntyre. Marion Dow has as much experience as Chaz Coleman. Tyree Weathersby has more experience than both. So, yeah, you got some experience there at edge. How do you guys feel on the new running back added? I was hoping to get a bigger back, but he looks good to the eyes. You got a back that was all about being part of the 1-2 punch and not trying to be the one punch, because the one punch is Bishop. And then I guess the money worked out, and he wants to be part of the group. And Darrell Sims liked him enough to make him part of the group. I don't have any worries about the running back room. I just don't. Man, look at what
I don't have any concerns about Tennessee's running game because Glenn Ellerby is coming back and he does a great job as the run game coordinator.
Yep. Can't argue with the results when it comes to the running game. In the last couple of years, Tennessee's put 3 different running backs, all SEC running back. Different running back coaches. Ellerby certainly valuable when it comes to the running game. That is correct. Need that development, though, to be a little better individually, but you're right. Vol Smitty, 98, says we have to make the playoffs or it's going to be warm to hot seat for Heupel. Yeah, it'll be warm if you don't make the playoffs. Got to make the playoffs. But it's always warm. It should always be warm in a place like Tennessee. It should feel that way. You should always have that pressure. Always have that pressure. And I don't think Heupel should want it any other way. He shouldn't want it different. So make sure you get up early, stay late. It's that pressure. Always Vol says home run hire for the strength coach. I think it's safe to say that was a home run hire. Ben talked about laying the foundation early in the show. Neil Mafia says, so, Ben, brick by brick.
That's right. Brick by brick, baby.
That's what they do in Kentucky.
Print the
right?
T-shirts again.
That's what they do in Kentucky. Brick by brick. That's what Coach Stein has adopted. That's his motto up there. So, listen, man. That brick by brick is being used by coaches for 10, 20, 50 years. Don't let that trigger you just because one coach used it here and was super corny. All right, let's get to the phones. Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
What's up,
hey,
Turkey
Ben,
Man?
I'm glad you're back, buddy. I'm glad you're almost like Vanderbilt this morning. I'm so glad that you're back there. Swain getting on to you like old times.
Ben back.
I appreciate it, Turkey Man. Good to hear from you this morning.
No, but I'm just saying it's good to have him back. That it feels like he ain't never been gone out, left for a while. It sounds like you're back 100%. But anyway,
I'm feeling really good.
Yeah, I could tell that, and I'm glad that they're hating on you again. So
Swain gets on me every show. This is not
about?
new, Turkey Man.
What are y'all talking about? Hating on you.
It's better this morning.
Y'all are
Yeah.
goofy.
Hey, I was going to ask a question here. I seen last night us talking about Indiana, that their average age of their players was 24 years old. That's
23.
average.
I saw
They
23.
said 20.
What'd you see 24?
Last night is what he said last night, and he averaged
Okay.
24. But anyhow, that's where I heard it. And I thought, well, how many years in college is that? Because I know that they interviewed Beck and asked him, did he miss class? And he said, I ain't had to go to class in 2 years. I graduated 2 years ago. How's that happen? How do you be in college and don't even have to go to college or be a collegiate player? And I just wonder how that happened. How we got here.
Not be dumb. Not be dumb. Go to class, graduate 3.5 years. I mean, a lot of people do it. I mean,
I believe somebody
but
clarified that he was taking online classes, so he was not literally going to class.
yeah. I mean, Carson Beck he graduated when he was at Georgia. So
That's what he said.
Yeah.
For 2 years, he hadn't been going to class. So how do you go? How you go hang out and not go to class?
because you graduate.
Online classes.
Yeah, you graduate. You take like like Matt Leinart back in the day when Matt Leinart was at USC. He graduated early, and they did some story about him that he was taking some ballroom class, ballroom dancing class. So that's what happens. Like you got to take classes. They just don't have to be. I mean, you already graduated, so like you can try to get a different degree, or you can take some of the electives that are a little bit easier that allow you to spend more time on football. That's the answer for you, Turkey Man.
Well, how many years in college would you have to be to average 24?
I don't think the 24 number is right because I heard 23 for like weeks and weeks and weeks, and I even looked it up, and it said the average age is 22.5 to 23. So I think that was a slip up yesterday. 24 is the first time I've ever heard someone say that Indiana's age was the average of 24. Because I've seen the comparison of Indiana. Their average age is 23, and then the Packers, which is the youngest team in the league, have an average age of 25. So, but yeah, guys are getting their degrees early and they're taking electives. That's how they're able to continue to play.
So we're gonna be the youngest. We're gonna be the youngest next year. Is that right?
We shouldn't be. We were the youngest team in the SEC this past year. We shouldn't be the youngest this year.
All right. Well, good to hear you guys.
All right,
this morning.
Turkey Man.
Hey, that podcast? What I missed it.
Beginning
where
of
did I see what?
beginning of the show, we talked about the strength coach.
Beginning of the show. Okay, I slept in. I overslept. I'll talk to you later.
All right, Turkey Man. See you. Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
What's up?
I wanted to talk a little bit about basketball and get you guys' thoughts. Against Kentucky, and you guys can agree or disagree, I just don't feel like we got that dog we can go to at the end of the game. And one thing that I didn't think I thought we did a really poor job second half. Eamon, either got fouled or scored every time he touched it on Saturday, and he never got touches when the game was on the line. To me, we go to Gillespie a lot of those times at the end of the game, which Gillespie's been good at times, but he's been very poor at times when the game's on the line. And to me, Amos got to become that guy, or we're not going to be very good this year. Do you guys agree on that?
Ben?
Yes, I agree, and that was something that Rick Barnes actually talked about post game. He was talking about how he thought Nate played well against Kentucky, especially in the second half, but he wanted to know why Nate only took 7 shots, and he said some of that is on Nate needing to be more aggressive with the mindset, but he also mentioned it was on some of his teammates as well. He pointed to Jalen Carey a couple of times, was swarmed by 3 or 4 Kentucky players and was just trying to force the basketball into the basket, and Rick would have liked to have seen Jalen kick it out to Nate or somebody else. So, yes, I agree with you. Rick Barnes agrees with you. Some of that is on Nate. Some of that is on Nate's teammates.
Well, and one other thing I was puzzled by, Berg has basically been out of the rotation completely the last couple games, and then you look up Saturday and here he is, and it just was really puzzling to me when he came back in, and it's almost like, and I know you have to sub some, but it was almost like Saturday we subbed too much, and it eventually cost us, because it just seemed like to me we had some guys in that didn't need to be in at kind of crucial times.
Yeah, I was surprised to see Ethan Berg as well. I understand wanting to keep Jacoby Gillespie fresh, although that wasn't necessarily an issue on Saturday because he had to sit on the bench in the first half with foul trouble. I was surprised as it relates to Ethan Berg that they went to Ethan Berg over Troy Henderson after Troy played well against Texas A&M earlier in the week. And Rick, a couple of weeks ago after the Arkansas game, after the SEC opener, Rick talked about how his biggest regret in that Arkansas game was that he did not play Troy Henderson. And he told Troy that as they were getting on the team plane to fly back to Knoxville. So if I remember correctly, Troy did have a turnover or take an ill-advised 3 or 2 late in the first half against Kentucky that Rick did not like, so maybe that prompted him to go to Ethan Berg over Troy. But I think given Ethan's inability to produce, I mean, he just simply does not need to be on the floor right now. Given that, I think you may have to roll with some freshman moments with Troy Henderson, and it just didn't seem like Rick was willing to do that on Saturday.
Swain, I want to say one last thing. One of the most exciting football years that I remember, and it was because we had freshman quarterbacks coming in, was when we had Ang and when we had Schaefer, both of them that year. Everybody was so excited because it was going to be something different. And if you remember, we had a really good year that year, and you take the portal away, man, this is really normal of what it used to be. You just recruit high-star dudes coming in, and they expect to play early. And so it may not be as bad a thing as what we think it is right now.
No, I don't think it's bad. I just think you have to, and thanks for the phone call, playing talented players is not a bad thing. So I don't want anybody to think that that's the message here, because it's not a bad thing. You want to play the percentages, though. One team in the playoffs had a young quarterback. That team was a team that won the championship the year before, that had the best roster in college football, that returned a lot of dudes, and that was Ohio State. So your roster, our roster, is nowhere close to Ohio State's. I don't know if they have any players coming back, but our roster is not going to be as good as Ohio State's, and it hasn't been. So knowing that, the percentages of you being successful enough to go to the playoffs are lower with a first-time starting quarterback than they are with an experienced quarterback. But that doesn't mean that's a bad thing, that you're playing a very talented quarterback. You just want to give yourself a great chance to win. It's no different than taking a half-court shot versus a three-point shot versus a layup versus a free throw shot. The layup is the highest percentage shot out of those, 4? So that's the only reason why I was saying, hey, man, it would be ideal to have an experienced quarterback. This is why Tennessee did have Todd Simpson as a backup, did have Sam Levitt on a visit, because they felt the same way, which is how they should have felt. But you have a talented group of freshmen that will battle it out, and then you'll have Staub come in and see what he can do, and then you will build around those guys. And you're right, like that was an awesome year. Now, I didn't pay attention to the radio stations and the message boards. I'm pretty sure people were trying to kick out Casey Clausen like they do every quarterback that's older and was ready for the new era. Well, again, Ainge and Schaefer got hurt that season. Their bodies were not developed. They were true freshmen. They had not been in a strength conditioning program, because Ainge didn't deal with those injuries when he got older. Why? Because he got stronger. He got older, stronger, and wiser, he didn't take as many hits. He got rid of the football. And so that's just the risk that you run when you're playing a first-time starting quarterback. When you're in field goal position, do you understand to throw the ball away and that you can't take a sack? That comes with experience. There are going to be freshman moments. So you worry about those freshman moments coming at a time that is in the fourth quarter or overtime and it costs you a game. That's the only thing. That's the only thing. But
it's always ideal to work with Jennifer Morris for all of your real estate needs. Jennifer Morris of Keller Williams Realty. The weather is cold, but the market is still hot. Jennifer just listed a home in North Knoxville. It went under contract in 2 days, $15,000 over asking price. So if you need to sell a property soon, make sure you give Jennifer Morris of Keller Williams Realty a call. And, of course, she doesn't just help you sell homes. She does anything and everything that you want to accomplish in the real estate world. So make sure you reach out to Jennifer. She will not let you down, I promise.
Jennifer Morris. I like how you did that, Ben. That was smooth, man. That was smooth. That's smooth operating by you. Heard Ainge had concussion problems that later in his career, had to do something with the goalpost. I don't know if he had concussion problems later on in his career. I didn't know. He didn't have any that I saw. But he did get hurt. He got hurt his junior year, ankle sprain. And then senior year, he had the finger. Yeah, he took a nice little beating. My point remains, like you want to have your quarterback physically prepared to take take hits and be able to get up. You gotta be able to get up, man. If George is taking the hits that Joey Aguilar took this year, does he finish the season? Whew. Because I don't know how Joey finished that Alabama game. I did not know. And he'll have to be smart about, getting down and sliding and all those good things. But I'm looking forward to seeing how George competes this spring. Because, again, during the fall, I thought he was the best thrower of the football, the best pure quarterback out of the three. So we shall see. All right, Ben McKee, did we leave anything? I know we didn't have much time to talk basketball, but hey, with the portal, Aaron Carter, you got a quarterback in Ron Staub. Strength coach was hired. Major move, big time move by Josh Heupel and the administration for making that happen. Lady Vols got the win against Alabama. Played great. Jam-packed a lot of stuff in an hour and a half, man. So we tried.
We did try. I think we touched on everything that we needed to. T. Davis 147 on the text box did ask for a bit of a baseball update. I do have plenty of baseball coverage up on the website at GoVols247.com. I was able to sit down with Josh Elander last week for a Q&A that I do each year. Had been doing it with Tony, obviously, so did it with Josh for the first time, and he was great. I put out part one of that conversation last week. Just the main subject of that was just kind of the overall state of the program and why he made the decision to hire this guy, that guy, and then I should have part two out a little bit later this morning, which is more geared around the current roster, the pitching staff, the position player side of things. So bye week for Tennessee basketball, no midweek game this week before they travel to Tuscaloosa this weekend. So going to pump out some Tennessee baseball preview content with first pitch 3 weeks away from Friday. I'm actually about to get off of here and go do a podcast segment with Ross Kivett. So the Diamond Vols podcast with myself and Will Heflin will have our first one coming out tomorrow. Ross Kivett will be on it. So plenty of baseball coverage at GoVols247.com in addition to all the great football content and roster roster tracking content that Patrick Brown and Ryan Callahan are doing a great job of keeping up with as well.
Ben McKee, Go Vols 247. I'm Jason Swain here in the Low T Center studio. Hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Peace and much love. We are out.